Okay, so let's talk about this problem over here. It's from Reddit, and it's an image that I clearly see in Reddit. It's posted to it. I just copy paste it. Um, I shouldn't say copy paste. Like I copied the image and created a PNG. But anyway, it's high school math. It says, "Help me find the blue shaded area." All right. Now, granted, looking at it, it doesn't look like an easy problem, but I want to point out there's some things that, telltale characteristics of the problem. I'm going to say it's a square. I see the right angles. Let me get my pen out. I'm seeing these right angles indicated over here. And then I'm seeing these double hash marks are all over the place, by the way. So I'm going to say that it's a square. That's one given to me looking at the picture. The other given to me is that there's some common point over here between all those areas. And what I'd recommend you do is draw altitudes in this thing over here. I put on me with it. But draw an altitude over here. That's an altitude. I'm going to draw, but by an altitude, it's going to be a perpendicular line segment to the side. And I'll draw an altitude over here. It's an altitude. And I know I'm not doing a great job of that. Okay? The next thing I would do is I would draw some triangles. And let me get a different color pen. And the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this triangle right over here. Kind of looking at it. And someone says, what triangle are you looking at? I'm looking at, let's take a look. I think I'm going to go, and I'll point out what I'm looking at here. I'm definitely seeing a triangle there, aren't I? All right. So I'm going to maybe put this one down now. That's a big triangle, isn't it? I'm going to do this one over here and this one over here. All right, let me just think about what I just did there. I got a triangle here. And what I'm going to claim is, let me use a different color. I'm going to shade it in, actually. And I think I want to call that something. Here's what I'm looking at. Looking at that, the base here is the same as the base here, and their altitudes are the same. So I'm going to claim that these triangles have the same area. All right? In other words, that this triangle over here has the same area as the one adjacent to it. And I'm going to label that now. And I'm going to tell you that that is going to be, that this guy over here, this is D. And I want to point out this is D over here. But this is also D. Now what I'm saying D is the area of that thing over there. I know they're equal areas now. Again, how do I know that? They have the same base and same height. And the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. I don't know what their areas are, but I know that, base times height. Now I'm gonna move around the circle. I'm around the square. I'm gonna keep doing that. All right, I'm gonna get a different color ink now. And I guess I'll go to green. And let's take a look at the next one. And the next one, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm seeing this big triangle here. But I'm gonna divide it into two parts. And the parts I'm gonna divide it into is this part here. Let me just shade that in, not shade it in, but get an outline, that's a triangle. And this triangle over here. You know what? Let me just make sure I did that right. Yeah, I think I did okay. So I'm going to say that over here, this base is still that, again, that mark was over here, by the way. The base here is the same as the base there, and their altitudes are the same. Now, I don't know the altitudes, I don't know the base, but I do know the areas of these two are going to be identical. All right? Now, be consistent with my notes, by the way. I'm going to tell you what I called this. I called this A. and this is A over here. They're identical in size, by the way. Just like this D over here is identical to that D over here. And I'm going to keep moving around. I'm going to go to yellow next. I'm going to do on this side over here. I'm going to draw a line over here. And I'm going to do, again, this is going to be the same thing we did before. They have the same base, and their altitudes are the same, by the way. So I'm going to call this B and call this guy B. Oops, sorry about that. All right. Let's keep moving around. Let's see, A, B, O, now on C. Well, that third side, right? And I'm going to use, I don't know, let's go blue. I'm going to do this side over here, that big triangle again. And I'm going to do the sides here, that side there, this triangle here. Getting a little better at this now. And those two triangles that you in blue, you know, this one's over here and this one's over here, have the same area. And the reason for that, their bases are the same. That's a double hash mark. And the height, that altitude is the same. And 1/2 base times height, right? So I'll call this C. And then what I write down is I write down a system of equations that represents what I'm looking at. But then someone says, what are you really looking for? I'm looking for the area of that blue region, all right? I'm going to point out that I'm looking for the blue region. So really what I'm looking for is I'm looking for what D plus C equals, and I have no idea at this point. But what I do know, right, what I do know is that I know that D plus A, I'll write this on the side for you, D plus A is equal to something. Again, I did hack the picture up somewhat, but I'm looking at it, and that's, you know, this area over here, and that's 16. The next thing I know is I know that next region here, this region over here, and again, you look at the original picture, by the way, I realize I hacked it up, is 20, and that's A plus B. I'm going to keep moving around. Again, next region, and this one over here, and that's B plus C. And what's B plus C? B plus C is 32. Now, what I'm going to do is, you know, stepwise move through this because I really want to find this out over here. So I'm going to look at these two equations and just subtract them. And what are you going to get? Well, if you do D plus A minus B, that's the same thing as saying 16 minus 20. And what happens, the A's disappear and you get D minus B equals minus 4. I just used those two. Now I'm going to use this. I'm going to add these two together. So let's write this down. D minus B plus B plus C would equal minus 4 plus 32. What do you get there? You get D plus C. And why is that? The B's are disappearing. What does that equal? 28. We just found it. D plus C, that blue area is 28. So let's get my eraser out. Erase all this information over here now. And again, I divided it. I want to remind you what we did, which I know is difficult. I always say I have real tough time visualizing too sometimes. Heights, right? And then I look at that over there, and I did a base here. I did this triangle here. And then I did this base over here, this triangle over here. And I kept doing that, by the way. What do I know about these things? They're equal in area. They're equal in area. How do I know that? Their heights are the same and their bases are the same. And I just worked around the triangle. I'm sorry, the rectangle, the square. Sorry about that. And then we had a system of equations, and I got 28 in the end. I do recommend, and I want to point this out, I do recommend going to Reddit. It's a post-it. It's posted to Reddit. And, you know, get people responding in over here. And I got to be honest with you, I looked at, you know, some people, what they're talking about, and I got to be honest with you, this is the one I agreed with most, by the way. It was really an elegant way of doing it, is kind of break this up into triangles, which I think would be most people's gut reaction to this problem over here, just breaking it into triangles and see if you can work your way backwards to that blue area. Now, granted, you might fail at first triangles, but, you know, heights, bases, that's what we want to go for. And the bases were given over here, by the way. They're all equal bases. And that's why it's probably a good idea to focus on a net and then find a common altitude between the triangles that have those bases. Thank you.